Well, thank you so much, Kevin, for joining us today. I would like to ask you a few questions, and if you can start like briefly do a rough introduction of yourself and basically your background. And the first question, obviously, so you can also keep conversation about it, it is why why do you think people should be investing in the esports?
Yeah, no, thank you for having me, everybody. Thanks for having me, Mateus and team. Appreciate your time and energy. Quick little background about us. We have offices in Los Angeles and Dubai, and what we do are a few things in esports. But in Los Angeles, we have an esports agency, Jima Esports Agency, a part of my larger company, Jima Group, who's the parent company. It's duly noted to say that in Jima Group, we do a lot of blockchain technology building. Over the last 9 years, we were the first Southern California company in California to deliver anything in customized mining solutions. So, crypto mining, early days. We sold that company, and the technology has always been in my blood and trying to figure out what is best in each sector. So, when esports fell into my lap in 2016, 17, we became minority shareholders of a League of Legends team in Turkey, Royal Youth Esports. And that was at a time when Riot Games was not franchised in the League of Legends. So in 2017, 18, we started to gain some traction. Riot Games became a franchise model in the TCL, and we bought a bid at that time to join the Riot Games TCL, which was the official franchise league of League of Legends. And last year, just within after 18 months, we were able to build that team out and win the championship and then go to the world championships in Berlin last year for League of Legends, where we placed 17 out of 29. I thought it was an amazing feat for a regional. And for all of our Latin American fans out there, if anybody remembers, Royal Youth did beat Flamenco FC in the group stages. It was the most watched group stage match. It was just over 790,000 concurrent viewers. And that was obviously Brazil versus Turkey. We ended up losing the first match and then coming back and winning the next two to knock them out of the group stage and go on. So sorry, but it was a great feat for us, and we're excited about that. We sold our investment in Royal Youth and we moved on to focus on our agency here in Los Angeles and in Dubai, where we help players in the traditional sense of an agency. We do a lot of brand work with activations and a very traditional agency, nothing out of the ordinary there, but technology has always been part of our blood, as I mentioned. So we're always investing and looking into different products like tournament hosting platforms. We own a tournament hosting platform in Sweden, a minority shareholder in Yamzu, and they also have a token. So you can see how the blockchain and technology has always been around for me. And here I am in London right now, where it's late at night, and we're here to set up our new organization, where we hope to be the third listed company on the London Stock Exchange for an esport organization, with my co-founder and partner, Nolan Bushnell, founder, creator of Atari and Pong, the original Atari back in the 70s. And so again, technology and gaming tech has come back with us and come full circle. So here we are in London to start it all off. And to answer your question, why is esports so appetizing, or gaming in that sense? And what happened during the pandemic? Well, I kind of connect those two because we didn't have a choice but to begin to stay home. Whether you like it or not, you became a digitalized person against your own will. And some more technologically savvy people were able to jump on that trend and really take advantage of it. So the streamers, influencers, and the people that already had the online presence exploded, right? Everybody was in front of the screen, so they just exploded. On the other side, for the businessmen and women that wanted to join into esports and gaming, it presented an opportunity to get into the digital space very quickly. Whether you are a team owner, whether you're doing brand activations, or you're just consulting, everybody was online. Everybody was accessible, and nobody was any different from anybody else. So I think for that main reason, in the microcosm of this pandemic, you have to be involved in esports and gaming. Whether you're a brand that wants to advertise, whether you're a business person that wants to invest, or if you're an operator, event organizer, there seems to be a home for you in any aspect and any sector in gaming and esports. So I think that it's a fantastic time and opportunity that we should not, for those who are not involved yet, should not think twice. You should begin and do something because, like I said, there's a home for you, whether you're a graphic designer all the way to a business operator investor. So, for that main point, I think it's a very exciting time and necessary to get involved. Not even you want, you should get involved.
Oh, awesome. And glad to hear that you actually know Nolan. I met him long time ago, actually in 2017.
Awesome.
So I've been a huge fan of his work actually with Atari, and also have like a bunch of friends in the gaming sector, like the guys from Guitar Hero, and everyone is actually looking to the esports. So
Yeah.
that's something interesting. And what is your approach, at least? You mentioned that you have invested in, or you're like related to a bunch of companies from different parts of the world. Are you active also in Latin America?
So I should have started. I should have started the conversation that I wanted to start with was Buenas noches, mis amigos. ¿Cómo estás? Estoy un poco estresado. Uh, and that was my one-liner for tonight because I'm extremely stressed these days in the off season of League of Legends, signing up all the agency. But to answer your question, no, we are not active in Latin America. And as my good friend Roberto knows, out of this call, I've said many times that Latin America and specifically Mexico, because I'm very familiar with Mexico and other businesses, not gaming and esports, that it's definitely a force to be reckoned with. I think we should definitely have a presence there if you don't already, if you're a Western nation. I truly believe that the Latin American countries and some of parts of Mexico are going to take over a lot of the manufacturing, and that goes for technological manufacturing too. They're becoming very technologically savvy, and I think that it's definitely something to look at. And don't mistake that the what we just saw with Sergio Aguero's team and Crew Esports in just 1 month, he showed the power of Latin America and what it can do for esports if you just take a hold of it.
No, perfect. And you're totally right, actually, with your approach as well, with everything that is happening with COVID. It just had accelerated like a lot of different things, and a bunch of industries have been also like revolutionized, if you think of it, with all of this situation. I believe that the gaming in general has exploded, and obviously the esports wave just took like off. And what are the
Yeah.
critical challenges that you now are seeing based on this like actual like COVID or pandemic situation? Because the trend is like exploding and booming like all over the world. But what I believe is a bunch of companies are not like moving as fast as the trend. So that's my approach. But what is yours?
Very true, very true. And it's kind of a mix of uh, confusion. It's a mix of scared, mentality of the economies of the world. And then if you leave both of those emotions aside and you get past it to want to invest, it's a bit of education, right? How many times have you given the pitch of what is esports? Not what is my product, not what is my team, but what is esports? And that takes like 4 to 6 emails or 4 to 6 conversations. And then when you break the ice or the barrier, then you get to the meat, and then you're kind of already saturated with your content. Like I told you that 10 meetings ago, and so I think that it's a lot of buy-in that we're asking for from the brands, and rightfully slow that they should be tippy-toeing into this because they shouldn't just take off their billboards on the side of the freeway because that's what works for the last 60, 70 years. So, and then the digital advertisement on Facebook, it still works. I'm not here to fight what still works. I'm just here to give new innovative solutions, like compared to that advertising model, in-game advertising or in-game opportunities for these brands. But you can imagine that it's a whole new world for these guys. And only a few of them, like Red Bull or KFC, or have really jumped in. But if you look at like the luxury brands like Louis Vuitton, Gucci, they're not jumping in by any means. They're just tippy toeing, right? They're not just full on. So I think that I understand the brand side as well as like the investor and operator side, because we're both like, come on, like open up your wallet, open up your ideas. So I do understand both sides, but it's going to take some time to massage it in there.
Yep, actually, it is true. Like people will, like a few companies are moving faster, and others obviously are just checking that trend and see a way to actually do an interesting approach. And based on your like background investing and obviously heavy in technology as well, there's a bunch of different family offices and venture capitalists also joining us today. What will be your recommendation in terms of how to evaluate these initiatives? Because like how you mentioned is like my first 10 conversations with one family office past Monday was what is esports
Yeah.
and why it's not bad for my kids to be like playing every single day on like PlayStation or whatever, right? So
Yep.
that's like the conversation that I was having, but I was like obviously trying to make them understand that there's like a huge opportunity for them, especially that they're like in the retail sector, that they might be able to enter. So my question is towards them is like how to evaluate this industry that is first like just getting started, even though it started like in the early 70s, but at the end it's like growing right now, and there's like so many different like approaches that you can actually try to get involved, like how you mentioned the tournament platforms, teams, even like the publishers and so forth.
Right.
So what will be your approach as an investor in order to first find the right like partners in terms of entrepreneurs to invest in, and second is how is your approach on where are the quick wins, or where you're actually putting your money and your efforts in order to make like a huge impact in the short term.
Yeah, great question. When you look at VCs, family offices, sophisticated investors, right? When you're looking at sophisticated investors, the first thing they look at is where's your revenue? And unfortunately, in esports, very few and far between have positive revenues. And it takes a long time for these companies to go, positive. So the main thing, question begs is like, are you in it for the short term gain? Because this is not your industry. Are you in it for the medium term game? Okay, now we can look at different sectors that don't involve teams specifically. Teams are inherently an expensive item to invest in with the highest return, but you need a bit of energy and luck. And why I say luck is because you could win every tournament and still not be profitable, right? You could win every single tournament and still lose money because it's all about branding. And I think these VCs and family offices understand branding better than anybody because they're the ones going after the big ticket items, the big ticket brands, because they know that brands pay. So specifically on investable items, you got to look to things that have growth potential and passive income strategies. So passive income strategies in what an esports investment would look like is like a tournament hosting platform or something that 24 hours a day all over the world that people are playing, paying, getting paid, and everything in between. Something like Twitch obviously is the mecca for passive income strategy. If you own Twitch 24 hours a day in 195 countries, they're streaming and they're paying, they're getting paid. There's brand deals, there's activations. So that's the king of the crop, right? And then in between that, you have a lot of other income strategies, such as these tournament hosting platforms. There's a lot of good ones where you can host tournaments, you can play for money, you can essentially another form of gambling, right? And anytime you have a casino or a hotel, this is the ultimate passive income strategy in an investment. So if you think about what an esports passive income or gaming passive income strategy looks like, you got to look toward things of technology so that you yourself, just like an operating system, can sell it off, can license it, can piece it off onto different things, can white label it. And in that sense, you have 5 different types of revenue if you build one piece of tech. There's a lot of great tech being built right now for that exact reason so that they can license it, so that they can white label it. And I think that's where the big family offices, because they can affect change. 1 million, not so much. 10 to 20 million, now you're taking a massive chunk of market cap in a couple different softwares that essentially can be used from gambling to, like I said, from Twitch and streaming, or any type of problem that you're solving. And I think I just said it right there. You got to solve a problem. If you're just going to have a team that just does a team, I'm sorry, that's not going to be valuable for any market. But if you're going to have a team and you want to attack like grassroots movement, or you want to attack, diversity, or you want to attack the universities, those are just three low level ideas. Then you're on to something because you have a market that speaks to your solving of the problem. So I think that's very important for them.
Great, and now I would love to jump in also Roberto, that is here today as well, and asking like about your work with Kevin and how you envision his approach with trying to revolutionize the Latin market, specifically, for example, in Mexico where you're based.
Well, basically, what we are trying, we have spent a lot of time. I mean, and a lot of time in this arena is maybe the last year, trying to understand the different verticals and where you have to be placed, so that you can get the best, especially considering the moment of the industry in our region and of course in our country. So we have devoted a lot of time and resources to gather very talented uh, founders of their own companies, their own projects, and we believe we are that machine putting all the pieces together in the puzzle that can uh, create a powerhouse in Latin America from uh, managing teams like Kevin was just mentioning. That's the content of the whole industry. That's where we need to be, and we have to evangelize or create more teams and professionalize them and make it not only people that play, but people that understand what they're doing and that can really make a difference in the space for them and for their community around them. So I think it's a huge endeavor that we are overtaking, and certainly the experience, the capacity we are trying to get the best out of the learning curve that has happened in Europe, in other hemispheres in the last years, so that we can speed up the process, because now is a time of execution. Everybody's thinking about the same things uh, at different speeds, and I believe that the talent we are putting together and the both in the execution and on the consulting side, on the advisory side, on where to go, and how to do it better, will make us be very successful. So that's my perspective on the region. We will be announcing our project in the next couple of weeks, and certainly we believe this is going to be a game changer in the region.
Awesome, awesome, and well, it's interesting the approach that actually both are doing, and we're very excited to hear in the short term actually the different initiatives that you're actually going to launch, and now based like both actually mentioned that the content is actually the players, right, the team. Um, my thought is very difficult to actually like it's a totally new world. It's totally like when I was like maybe 15, 20 years ago, I played StarCraft and everyone was like, you're not going to be professional at this. No one will pay you. And now it's happening. Like literally you're having people earning like millions of dollars, that it's money that most of everyone in the world actually is not earning in a year or maybe in their life. Right. So those kind of things are actually doing like a huge shift in terms of how people are envisioning the future. And how is running an agency like a traditional type of agency, but with this type of actually players, is like you need a lot of like psychologists or like people like taking care of the, like their food, housing, everything, because I'm very like connected with a soccer like industry in general. I have a few friends that are also like agents as well, but they start like with people when they're like very young, like 10, 9 years old, and they just invest in them until hopefully like it will pay off, right? And it's same kind of like the approach as venture capitalists is like you have like a home run. There's you one, two players that actually mega succeeds, and the rest is just kind of like paying back like one or twice 2x like your money. So how is that approach in terms of the esports? And I know it's very early, right? So maybe you'll just have like a few experiences based on how to run this, but and hopefully in the near future you will have like a massive success in all of this.
Yeah, knock on wood. I feel like the massive success point has already we've reached it. I'm not saying there's more to go. Of course, there's always more to go in life. There's always another level, always another level, always another level. I truly believe that. But I believe we're at that moment right now as we speak. Last night I was up until 3 in the morning speaking to all the teams in the LCS. The LCS is the largest league in North America for League of Legends. Average team value is just above 50 million. Average buy-in is just above 30 million. So we're pretty there. We're pretty much there as far as the numbers are concerned. To answer your question on the agency side, I manage a lot of players, but 3 very large players. 2 of them last night at 3 in the morning were sold. And so I have to do this job as an agent, and both of them combined will make just over about $3.5 to $4 million together. And the team that purchased them bought them from the only team owned by an NBA team. So the Golden State Warriors own the Golden Guardians, and the Golden Guardians are their esport team. They sold 2 players to the 100 Thieves. 100 Thieves is a very famous brand around the world, one of the largest organizations in the world. They got famous because they did esports, but they also started to get investors like Drake, the rapper, a lot of famous investors, the owner of a lot of football teams and soccer teams and things like that invested in 100 Thieves. And so they developed like their merchandising. So now they sell more merchandise than they do make money from esports, which is going back to that first example of branding. They understood the branding. And so they took over the idea of what an esports company should be. Well, as an agent, I had to service my players the same way as Ronaldo's agent has to service him. He got sold from a very big team to an even bigger team. And that's a lot of headache. It's a lot of legal work. And yes, we do have sports psychologists. Yes, most teams have an in-team chef. All the food is prepared on most teams these days. And you do need to take care of the player the same way Ronaldo needs to take care of. I need to make sure their diet is proper. I need to make sure their fitness and mental fitness is proper. So everything I say about esports and sports is one-to-one. For sure, it's one-to-one. There's no difference anymore. It's just the economies of scale that's changing. But we have sports psychologists, we have chefs, we have everybody in between. But I believe we're here right now at the pinnacle of where we are in esports. We will go higher. The valuations will go higher, as they do in every sport. Just like NBA exploded over the last decade, you're going to see esports explode over the next decade. We don't have our first $1 billion esports team or franchise yet. I believe we're 3 years away from getting that first $1 billion team, most likely FaZe Clan or 100 Thieves, because of what they've done outside of esports and how they're doing it. And then on the pure esports play, you got guys like Sergio Aguero, Kun Aguero, who's doing the crew esports and doing it fantastically. This is a model for how to do it if you're a professional player or investor that wants to come in and make it a brand. If he starts to sell t-shirts or sweatshirts tomorrow, he's going to sell out. He's going to sell out, and that's millions and millions of dollars. And then you couple that with the streaming. Then you couple that with the brands. Then you couple that with maybe the team is winning. This team can be easily valued at $100 million, and Sergio Aguero is not even valued at $100 million anymore. right? So he's on the latter side of his career. He understood that. And so he got in and parlayed it into something bigger. So everything that traditional sports is doing, all the way from franchising to agency, is one for one. And I believe we have arrived already. And so agents like myself are just looking for talent. And the talent now has a criteria. It's not like just 1 year ago, Matthias, I was begging players to join me. I was begging them, please join us. But now they have to beg us to join. It's just 1 year that changed because A, we've grown, B, the bandwidth, and C, there's just so many players now that need representation. Now they understood, crap, I need representation. I need to be legally represented and at a high level so I can get those 3 a.m. conversations taken care of for a little more money. One of the deals almost broke through because of just housing. If they didn't give the housing in another negotiation about a year ago, the player was ready to go. So you can imagine all that money, but you didn't give them housing, so they're ready to go. That's power. The players have the power, the agents have the power, and the teams understand that they need to get the good assets to be able to win and for branding. So I think we've arrived, and I think everybody needs to understand that. It's a very critical moment that 2020 was the hype cycle. If you look at the cycle of any business life cycle, we are definitely at the hype cycle. Don't expect this hype cycle to last another 1 or 2 years. Don't tell me that the pandemic is going to keep the hype cycle rolling. I don't believe that. Every investor, everybody only has a certain bandwidth. So that's why I say we've arrived.
No, it's totally true. And what is your vision with that, Roberto? Like, based on everything that you have seen also in Mexico and Latin America. I know that Kevin is like all over the world, right? So, what is his approach on matching sports with esports? Is also being replicated in Latin America, and if not, like, what are the key things or learnings that we need to be pushing as an industry, at least from the Latin perspective, in order to get to that hype cycle that actually Kevin is mentioning?
I think the benefit we have is, and we have to take advantage of it, is our demographics. We certainly still have this population demographic bonus that works in our favor, both on the consumption and on the development side. So there's more people playing. The time frame of people being involved in this will shows us a larger horizon than the one that may have happened in Europe. The access to talent at early stage that you can kind of mold and help develop is also much larger, and not only that, but the market size as well. So if we put together Latin America, it's a big, huge market. We don't have to forget about Brazil. Certainly we have to treat it as Brazil, but it's part of the ecosystem, and we can take the cooperation on the soccer teams. We are the suppliers of content to Europe, right? There's no any successful team in Europe has Latin content, and where that content was created here. It was upscaled in Europe, but it was created here. And I think we have a long way to go in a short time to manage in terms of how we get involved with universities, how we get involved with this, like I was referring in my previous intervention, not only set people to play or say the young population to play, but how they understand the whole industry and the future that they can have in here. So I do believe that we are at the right place at the right time with the right demographics, which helps a lot. But it will not be easy because we do have to go from in Mexico. We are talking to the first official or the second maybe university for gamers, right? So that you take them through the whole 1 year, 1.5 year education program on how to be a gamer and what a gamer stands for, no? And which is the same like if you play in the basic league in the soccer team, right? They will get through to that. They may not get you through, and that's where the agent is important, because if you are part of the soccer minor league, but they teach you how to play, but they don't necessarily teach you the business of soccer, no? And that's where the agents allocating the talent can help supporting and pampering and building up the capacities and the strengths of that talent. And again, if you put one-to-one the real sports with esports, you have same baseball, you have basketball, you have soccer, you have all the different sports that are played in this region where you, I mean, the thing is one with the content, and the other thing is how we attract the brands, the actual brands, which are the professional teams or semi-professional teams, on how this can be a new source of revenue for them, and eventually a surviving tool, no? Because we are seeing that they are losing audiences, they are losing revenue, and this may be like the Sergio Aguero example is what will bring to us, no? So because it not only connects, and the pandemic brought this to us now, it didn't connect only the possibility for the region, but now we are global, and we are having this conversation like 10 years ago would have been very not complicated, but it's not the same feeling, it's not the same atmosphere, the same capabilities. There's some things that the technology has to still work on to allow for better international competitions, even without being physically present. But we are working on it, and there's companies working on it now. So this will just make the community bigger, and the examples and the trade-offs will be bigger as well, no? So I'm excited about being part of this moment in the industry.
Yeah, Roberto, you said something that was interesting about football, right? That with the content that comes from South America, Latin America, you can't find a European league or team or anything that doesn't have a presence of this side of football. Now with esports, the kind of branding and explosion is on that side of the world, or Europe and Asia. So the best thing I can say as an analogy to what you said, which was well said, is that you guys have everything in your power to make it work, and just all you need to do is localize it. So if you just localize it, as the famous phrase goes, just copy paste and localize. The wheel has been invented and it's been messed up and perfected. All you have to do is localize it. And I can't give a better example other than like what Sergio Aguero is doing, because it was seamless, right? He just bang. He put the energy into it. He did it in his way for the local market of the Spanish-speaking citizen in all Spanish-speaking states, which is colorful, which is energy, and it's localized. So I can't say it any other way that we have this great opportunity right now in Latin America to use the knowledge and the wealth of experience that has been going on for 10 years now in Europe and Asia in esports competition, and just localize it for the people that they can get onto a product that they like. So I really believe that Latin America, if they play their cards right, will be the third or fourth largest market after Europe, America, and Asia, because Southeast Asia is slowing down a bit. Australia completely, Oceania is completely, dead. Africa is a bit slow. I would be worried of the Middle East. The MENA region is extremely fast, and they're going to go all mobile. But in Latin America, it's going to be a really beautiful mix of mobile, mix of what's already happened with localization, and then a little bit of brand new. So I think it's a beautiful intersection of what can be done. Like your example said, with football going that way, same thing can come out this way.
Right.
Yeah.
No, it's a very interesting approach, and hopefully, like the vision of both of you actually comes through, and Latin America becomes like one of the most important players in the world within this industry. So just to wrap up a little bit, one of the beauties of the esports, at least what I've seen, is it's a literally a global movement, and it's very like maybe soccer could be kind of that, right? Because it's also something that is extremely global as well. But at the end, any other type of sport is very like located into a specific geographic. And in this case, the esports is literally turning like a massive thing all over the world. So for the people that are hearing today that are like kind of like new into all of this, and I always love to finish with this question is for both of you, where what will be your recommendation in order for them to learn more and dig a little deeper with all of this esports revolution, and that way they can take some task for their home or to-do list in order to read, share, learn, and obviously connect with all of this all over the world. So maybe you can start, Roberto, and then Kevin, and then we can wrap up.
Yep.
Thank you, Matthias. I think I can share my process. I was curious to get into a very basic tournament platform, and I got hooked by the founders. And these guys are 25, 26 years old, and I had the chance to overview the project, and then, of course, I had to invest in it. Like you say in poker, no? You have to play to see, no? So I paid to see and to watch what was happening, and but that opened my eyes on a different even perspective, and now I'm talking as an investor, because you have different eyes than the founder has. And when I found what the real value of the platform was, they were surprised, because that was not what they were looking for, and that took me into getting value out of that value to the next level, which is how you start by watching amateur players, very competitive, and how you select them and how you bring them into a more sophisticated model of team, and very more organized, and proud to be part of the managing team of the first Mexican very strong soccer team, esports team, and so that connects content again. We're creating from that platform, and you have this view that I remember from the first time I had the chance and the privilege to meet Kevin. He said that, and I think that's my 2 cents of uh, participation here, is once you start, you cannot stop looking at the different places where you have to be, because you do have to understand the whole thing before you decide where to be. And it may be you want to be an agent or you want to be an event organizer, but unless you understand the whole ecosystem, you will be missing something, and you don't want to miss that part. So get involved.
Yeah.
That's you have to get involved.
Yeah, well said. And just to piggyback off of that last part of your comment is, look what happened with the blockchain. When everybody wanted to get into it, nobody was prepared to go and study blockchain technology because it's just so intricate. I grew up with it literally since I was 20, like 19 to 20, and then it just exploded. So it made sense to me. But try to explain blockchain to someone on the street or an investor for that matter. And the most technologically savvy people have difficult time learning it. So that's a high barrier to entry. When we're talking about esports and gaming, it's not a high barrier to entry. There's a lot of barriers to entry, but not, some of them are high, some of them are medium, some of them are low, but there's a lot of barriers to entry. Like we talked about at the beginning, whether you're an advertiser, whether you're a graphic designer, an investor, or a technologist like me, you can put yourself in some part of gaming or esports that you will be profitable, you will have fun, you will develop, and you can get creative and innovative. And that's the whole key of life. If you're not innovating, you're dying. So to answer your question, the knowledge and where to find it is very simple. Find what excites you. So if all you do is advertising, right? That's your whole life. Well, okay, now start to search about what is innovating inside of gaming and esports. And that's easy. That's in-game advertising. That's like a huge market that's about to take off. If you're a graphic designer and you want to learn how to create graphics with this type of industry, there's a plethora of information and already finished products on YouTube, on Twitch, on these different streams that you can kind of look and replicate for your localized market. LinkedIn is a fantastic source these days. I think LinkedIn 2020 was the year of LinkedIn. I said that at the beginning of the year before the pandemic, and then the pandemic just made it go through the roof. So LinkedIn is definitely the mecca for information of other sources. So I might write an article, Roberto might write an article, Mateus might write an article, and that's localized knowledge from these people. And then you go and take those bits and pieces and you source them. So if Kevin said something, go and source it. And then you'll type through Google or whatever, and you'll find 100 different sources on tournament hosting platforms that are being tokenized. Now, that was a very specific example. Tournament hosting platform that's being tokenized. There's going to be a ton of articles to put you on your way. So once you figure out what excites you about esports and gaming, what really turns you on to what you want to do, start to type that away and get those keywords. Go to LinkedIn, search the articles and the quotes and the things that are being posted by industry representatives like us on this call, and you'll quickly go down a rabbit hole of your answer, and you'll definitely get it. So I think it's very simple. Just like you're writing a college term paper, you go to the internet and you start to search keywords. Unlike blockchain and unlike, VR, AR, this is much easier to swallow, right? It's much easier to kind of get it in your brain and to digest this information so that you can get to where you need to go. So yeah, I think there's a lot of good sources starting from LinkedIn, following the right people, engaging with them. It's okay in 2020, or now it's 2021, but it's okay to say you don't know. That's the one important thing. If I can give like a little life lesson here, is like the most important growth someone can have is to say, I don't know, but can you teach me? And there's so many resources on LinkedIn, especially in the community of esports and gaming, to do that. So follow me on LinkedIn.
Yep. And also
and Roberto too.
Yeah, so well, thank you both for this pleasure conversation actually, and having your knowledge shared with everyone in the esports reunion. Hopefully we can have you in the near future, and also a lot of success in all the endeavors that you're actually putting all your energy into towards it, and hopefully also stay safe. We're still under all of this pandemic, so even though we must learn how to live with it, just stay safe. That's the most critical thing. So thank you so much.
Likewise, brother. Likewise.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for
Thanks
your
for the
invite. Thank you for your time. I will see all of you in Latin America very soon. I'm positive of that. It's a great place, and I'll see you guys very soon.